Welcome to Pixel Peepers, a podcast for entrepreneurs, business owners, marketers who are interested in DIY video. We get the brightest minds in their industries to come on and give us some insights into how they're using video in their world. Today we have, well, I should say actually, I'm Nick, because you probably don't know who I am. Next to me is Shea.
G'day guys, thanks for joining us.
We are the hosts with the mosts. And joining us today is Aaron Emerich, a financial entrepreneur using video in as we'll kind of hear, in a variety of businesses, in a variety of methods and modes. And Aaron, thank you for joining us. And
thank you for having me on.
Thanks for coming in, mate.
To chat about all things video. But for those who haven't heard about you, could you give us a brief overview as to maybe your professional background and what you do in business now?
Yeah, easy. From a very young age, young age being that in my 20s, I made a clear decision that I really wanted to be wealthy and understand wealth and what it actually was. So along the journey, I spoke to quite a lot of people that were wealthy, and especially people who taught about property and taught about the financial markets and other asset vehicles. And I heard them say a few things that I did not like, such as, to get started in the investment journey, you have to have about $100,000 behind you. And I'm like 22 going, where am I going to get $100,000? It's going to take me forever to save up.
That's a lot of games of pokies.
Exactly.
And TAB.
Hit the cards, played a bit of poker. And no, I didn't. But pretty much from there, I stumbled upon a lot of books that really helped me open my mind up to the investment world and to how money was actually played as a game. So I was very fortunate enough to have a good direction back in the day. And so one of those things that I did do that helped with my, my financial background was I became a mortgage broker. So that business is still going today, but from there it's just expanded into all sorts of things, like just helping clients with, buying their first home, and helping clients with their with investing in the property markets, and so it's been crazy.
You're guiding millennials too, mate. Though, so if they were to read the same book as you, saying you need $100,000 to get started, you're letting them know you don't need to do that. You've been through the trials and tribulations. And you've worked out that, if there are millennials that want to do what you're doing, you don't need that startup to get going, especially in the digital space.
Pretty much, yeah, especially in the digital space. Like, we are in the most opportune time in the history of the world. Like, if you can't be successful now, it's all about mindset. Your mindset's wrong, because there are so many kids, like from 12 to young millennial, that are making lots of money each month on the internet. And if you can't do it, you can do it pretty much.
Talk to me afterwards, because I'm still not doing it, and I obviously need to.
But, mate, you're on a good quest though, because that age group, very influential. And if you were to say to someone you need $1 million to get started, and they go, oh, what? Okay, I'm going to do my backup, whatever that was. So if you have got people that are passionate about money and what you're the business you're in, then you're leading them down the right track. And especially, mate, today things are evolving so quickly. So even in the money game, it's moving at a fast pace, and if you're getting millennials going in the right direction, then the world's going to be a better place, mate.
I think so. I think they're tipped to be the richest generation that's ever lived, where I'd rather them be the wealthiest, because there is a difference.
Yep.
So if we can teach them that what they see on Instagram and is not a real life, then I think that they'll be one step ahead of their peers.
Yeah, that's what Nick and I are working on, is getting a six-pack, because we know that'll get us 10,000 followers on Instagram straight away.
Instantly.
So,
yeah, you've got to have the brooding distance shot where they're off in the beach with
I'm working on the before. Shay's working on the after. So
this is why we've got the Ferner in the background. This is all for we're supposed to be on a tropical island right now. Yeah.
Maybe there's a before and after for wealth on Instagram then, as in not, as you said, not financial or riches. but there's so much bullshit on Instagram about this before after.
How sexy is being a broker, mate?
Oh, it's not sexy. I mean, it's a good lifestyle. Honestly, the business does give you a good lifestyle. And one of the main reasons that I wanted to go into broking early on is I had two choices. When I understood passive income, I basically said, what businesses can I set up that have passive income? And back then I had limited knowledge in the online space, so I didn't realize you could make a lot in this is like 10 years or 7 years ago.
Yeah,
I didn't realize you could make so much money on like YouTube, and everyone was making money on YouTube back then. So I just missed the boat there. But two businesses I did look at, which were personal service style businesses, was one managing rental managing in the property scene. And the other one was being a finance broker. So I decided finance broker because I love finance so much, and I could learn so much by being a broker. And both of those businesses have ongoing sort of residual style income from them. So
So in that industry, correct me if I'm wrong, it strikes me as a very traditional industry. What does the world look like in brokeraging? Brokering.
You look up the Oxford Dictionary. Brokeraging.
It is on Instagram. So
hashtag before.
Yeah, before grammar. So what does the world look like in terms of how brokers can actually market themselves? Over the last few years, like how did you start growing your business? I guess in that world, and has that changed with? Clearly, you have a way more defined client than maybe you did 7 years ago, because even your business or you started up all these little extra ventures. So what has that looked like? What does the world look like in brokerage?
I guess brokeraging. From early on,
when you say it twice, it becomes part of the Oxford Dictionary.
Yeah. That's what I'm going for.
It's all about mass influence. So
it's the only way I can cover my mistake is making it socially acceptable.
Hey, use guys is now use is now
use guys. Not the. Well, early on, when I first became a broker, it was one of those things where you just kind of market to everyone. Everyone's my client, and that's a trick for the rookies in any business, really, because especially when you go into the online space, you realize that the more you niche, the more successful you'll be. And sometimes you could niche down to very, very specifics in the online world and be a lot more successful as you niche. So. For broking, that's where I started. I could market to everyone and just told everyone what I did and treated it like a multi-level marketing style business where, tell me, like, I'll go to all my people and then I'll ask my clients, like, who do they know that need home loans, and just sort of spread it out like that. I started to move on to the online space and realized there was a lot of red tape around it, around marketing and what you could and couldn't say as a broker. And you can't really talk about rates that much online. I mean, you kind of can, but you've got to have lots of disclaimers behind you, because what if rates change, and what if you're giving someone advice, and before you give advice, you have to give your credit guide across to the person as if they're a client. There's just so much red tape. So naturally, as a broker, I moved on to other things and left my wife actually took over as the head broker in Smarter Lending, and I used brokering as a launching pad into other areas.
Awesome. So did you ever try and navigate that world of marketing and advertising? Did video ever play a part in that, in that particular realm?
I guess the compliance officers scared me too much to even entertain the online world. And even today, if I see an ad from a broker, I'm like, oh wow, how did they get around those little nuances of what their compliance officer's thinking, and so on and so forth. So I mean, you have to get every piece of marketing material analyzed by the compliance people to make sure it is fit and okay to go online. It's kind of weird. But your industry bodies actually have marketing that they've created that you can then take and use to as marketing as it's been pre-vetted and okay for compliance. However, if everybody has the same marketing, it doesn't have the same
I was literally
effect.
just about to say, I'm connected through a past kind of niche of video production, I'm connected to loads of financial planners. And I was just about to say that completely makes sense, because on LinkedIn, I'm often seeing the same articles, like with the same copy, maybe like some slight changes from like each advisor in completely different businesses.
You just zone out, don't you?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I wonder where that originated from.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption, folks, but if you're enjoying this podcast and you want to learn how to make great videos for your business, don't worry, we've got you covered. We've put together a 32-page ebook that's packed full of gold to get you out of the blocks. So head over to No Time Manual Skill and get started. Back to the podcast.
Compliance.
So, mate, how are you utilising video in your business, and what kind of results are you getting?
Yeah, so when I started branching out from broking, I went into, like, I found a massive need for first home buyers to have help along the whole journey. And what I found is that I was able, once I stepped into that scene, helping first home buyers, I was able to use video a lot. So it was quite easy for me to just pop out a camera and then start using film to, show people, well, this is the actual house that you'd be getting,
So, but was that always the plan though, or was it a natural thing for you? Have you always just had your video camera or your smartphone out, just like filming things?
Not really naturally. It's something that over time, the more I did it, the easier it got. I kind of looked at it as a new tool, in my tool belt, so to speak, where the more that I used it, the more I'd understand when and where to use it, right, and how it would work and be the most effective. So
well, I was having a chat the other day with a guy who's very, very shy, but he finds it in his industry. He's so passionate about it, you can't stop him talking when he starts talking about it. So he actually finds video, like when you first start, very daunting, but it only took him a little bit to get going and out the door. But he loves talking about his industry. He's so passionate about it. So, I've been to a party with him. You can't get 2 words out of him, but you put him in front of a camera talking about what he loves, you can't shut him up.
So the next party, you've just got to pull out your camera and then hey presto.
No quality the material's going to be, but it's like, okay, this is what he does when his day off. But
that's awesome.
I think there's an influencer on Instagram that actually made good money out of recording parties and stuff. So
good idea.
Like, from your personal experience, mate, are you outgoing, introvert? Like do you find it hard to get in front of the camera?
Look, I'm actually quite super extroverted. So I didn't.
What's that word?
Extroverted.
Oh, extroverted.
You thought I was doing like another broker
another bit.
Okay, so it just comes naturally. Yeah.
No, it didn't start naturally. So I guess my point around that was that because I'm extroverted, I thought that if I put a camera in front of me, that I'd be brilliant.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so I started following a lot of the guys on social media and YouTube and other social media platforms that are heavily into camera, into video, and thought, oh, well, look, if they could do it, I can do it. Yep. So I just started trying to record videos, like just by myself or trying to do interviews with people and whatever. It just tanked.
Yeah.
And I realized very quickly that it's a skill that you need to, it's like muscle. Like you just need to
train
exercise it and tone it. Exactly. So still refining it, and probably will be refining it in the long into the future.
Well, I think you'd be your own worst enemy too when you first start out. Like, you don't like the way you sound. There's a lot of negative things that are going through your head. It's like, because you're very vulnerable. It's like looking at yourself in the mirror. So in some ways, I think you overcome all those obstacles, and then it just becomes what you do. But it's funny that like, as you said, like, it doesn't matter that if you're outgoing and can talk underwater. Even with video, it as you said, it's a muscle memory, and you got to practice. Got to keep practicing the skill.
What didn't you like about your first videos?
Oh, this is a tough question. Well, I guess,
all of the things.
This is where I shrink into a little bubble. All of the things, exactly. So when I first started hearing my own voice as a recording, I'm like, is my voice really that husky? I'm like, I thought it was a bit more,
I like the husky. It's sexy, man.
Hey, Shea. How you doing?
I'm going to play this back in the edit and go, oh, geez,
Bleepers, right?
ASMR.
Maybe go get a nice tea. This is
bubbles out. On the path of voice, I guess, talking about voice, the huskiness was a thing that I was like, I didn't realize I sounded like that to everyone else. But then everyone gets that, I think, when they...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Like we still do, I think. Like,
Well, it's like huskiness can come from just being dry, like just dry back of the throat.
oh, but we're like, whenever we see ourselves on video, it's the reverse image anyway, because we're used to seeing ourselves in a mirror. Like, I don't like the sound of my voice either.
Yeah.
And like that, but like, yeah. So how do you push past it? Why did you just think, well, whatever, I'm just going to keep making them?
Well, what I found is that when I recorded myself on camera and I played it back, I realized that the more animated I was, the better it came across on camera.
Yep.
And it's almost like this strange thing that if I animate my voice or my emotions and movements on camera, it's dulled down by like 10 times when you play it back to yourself on video.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, isn't
it's
it? You're
strange
spot
thing.
on. You're spot on. So I made a video the other week for No Time, Money or Skill on the Facebook, and I didn't post it because I was like, okay, energy, and it was a bit of a technical one. So I felt like I really needed the charisma to keep the engagement, you know.
Come on, man.
And I looked it back.
You're charismatic.
Mate, you watch this video and I'll put
His,
you...
his 5.5
video?
charismatic
Oh, man.
is most people's, 9, Yeah.
I've just been speaking for 500 hours to get to this point, okay? If you watch this video, it will
Take
put you
32.
to sleep.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I
right.
could, and I felt the energy. I was like, that
Yeah.
felt really good. And then
Yeah.
I was on video like, hi, this is Nick.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. And I was like, why do I sound so monotonous? That's crazy. But like, there is this thing in video.
It's a
where,
thing.
like,
It's a
it
thing.
sucks your energy.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah.
It's like as it goes through the wires and then spits out on a screen, it's like this beast that shrinks your animation down to like dryness, and you're just like, hi. Like, what? I was super animated then. What's going on?
Do you think a part of it is overthinking the whole process out of the blocks? When you get started, it's like, am I, like there's a million and one things going on in your head. And then when you get going, it's just it's a speed bump. It's the first couple of seconds, but you may warm into it. But I think your brain's just going a million miles an hour. Part of it could be, you're worried about what people think about you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I
sure.
think that's a big part of it. I don't want to look like an idiot. I want to make sure I'm saying something that's, going to help. So your brain's working overtime, and then when that's happening, it's hard to actually spit anything out.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. When you're doing a Facebook Live, especially, you'll see all these people like pop up, and they're seeing, you go, oh, I've got like 3 people on it. Yeah, I'm like the best ever on social media.
Yeah.
But when I see that people pop up on my lives, it gives me the confidence to then keep going.
Yeah.
But then when they're not on there, I'm like, oh no,
Why is no
people
one
are going to
watching?
see this
Yeah.
later, and I'm
Yeah.
like choking. I'm like, and then people pop up again. I'm like, oh, thank goodness for that. I've got an audience. I'm like not talking to myself, and that's probably one of the things that I did find is that, especially when I started doing like webinars and things like that, I was like, I really feel like I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
right.
And like I'm used to, being an extrovert. I'm used to having people around and we're talking to them. And that's why I think it's probably easier for an introvert because they can have the dialogue going along in their head, whereas I bounce off people. So
That's good.
Yeah.
So that's why the majority of your video content is from Facebook Live. That's awesome. So what do you have a percentage breakdown? Like what percentage would you say is your Facebook Live versus pre-recorded content?
50-50 now.
Okay. Yeah.
The reason why is because I'm now recording all my Facebook Lives with a camera next to my phone.
Okay.
That's smart.
This is a new little venture that I've started doing because I'm like, someone very famous on social media has recently been saying that they want to have people on their platform that are fairly new to the game in their industry.
Yeah.
So then when they're famous, they can look back on that content and say, hey, look at them before they were famous.
Yeah.
And, like how many people have made it and you've started following and saying, oh, I love this person. They're really good in the industry that they're in. But then you wonder, where did they start?
Yeah.
What were they like before they got famous?
Yep.
And like if they just had a camera on when they were writing their first song or, developing their first screenplay or they were creating whatever, like doing the thing that they do now famously, the first one of that. Imagine if they had a camera on then. You'd be like, they sucked.
Yeah.
Because they've worked so hard to be where they are today that you'd just be like, wow, if he was or she was like that,
Yeah.
and I'm like probably a few steps ahead of that, then imagine what I could
Exactly,
be by
yeah.
putting in the work.
It gives you a bit of confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Massive confidence.
I watched
boost.
the first Joe Rogan episode the other day, and I actually turned off after 5 minutes. Like, it took them because they're still working at what does this do? What does that button do? Are we live? So you kind of lose focus pretty quickly.
Which is why we've lost all our audience right now.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're
No, I got someone watching. Yeah,
in
Ooh,
10
hello.
10 years' time.
I still love
Hey,
it.
we've got David on. Thanks, David. Thanks for watching.
So for those who haven't really explored Facebook Live, what are you living about?
Well, I've restructured my groups that I run on Facebook. I'm finding groups get the best traction for when you're doing lives at the moment. So I've restructured them so that they're very predictable. People know exactly what's going to be posted each day, and they can post about those things each day. So what I do is I'm actually doing Facebook Lives about the content that is in the group, right? So I'm trying to encourage my groups to grow and people to add as many people as possible to the groups, because the more people that are on there, the more engagement I'm going to get natively, and the more content that I can then create for the people that are on the group.
Gotcha.
Mate, are you pushing the ice for in your industry to show other people that are doing what you're doing? Okay, this is the way. This is where we're going. Are you helping other peers that are brokers saying, okay, because obviously there's probably a few brokers that are still doing stuff from 1983. Are they seeing what you're doing and the results that you're getting and going, okay, we need to start doing Facebook Lives. We need to buy a video camera. We need to, start getting content out there for an audience.
Yeah, I have seen a number of brokers actually start to step up. I mean, I don't consider myself a broker nowadays. Just because, I do so much more as well. So it's just evolved. However, in the broking scene, it is one of those industries where I think, look, you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead if you just pick up a camera and
start filming.
Filming. Start telling. And here's the thing, brokers. No one cares about the interest rates. Shock, horror. I mean, the first thing they tell you when you start doing a newsletter as a broker is stop writing blogs about the interest rates. Everyone knows about the interest rates because it's all over the news. And just because they know, it doesn't mean they care. And interest rates, the change in the cash rate doesn't necessarily affect too much. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's just the banks are kind of a beast upon themselves. They'll do what they want to do. They'll pretend to put rates down and then put them up, or they'll give bigger discounts or more smaller discounts. So they're just I just think that as a broker, you're missing out on a massive opportunity to show people behind the curtain of what the broking industry is like.
Cool.
Pick up a camera, pick up your phone, start recording stuff, interview your clients on what the experience was. Talk about the process of being a broker and what's involved. Because, hey, when I become a broker, I realized that you don't just put an application in and hope for the best. There's so much work behind the scenes that the average client wouldn't, even if you told them, they wouldn't even understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a great way to kind of fill that knowledge gap, to show how valuable anyone's industry is, actually, if you can fill in those knowledge gaps. Video is obviously a great way to do that. So you have your Facebook groups they're each geared towards your relevant business, let's say. So they each have a dedicated kind of audience. So you're looking at just getting organic growth into those groups so people can come towards that. What do you see the next kind of 6 to 12 months looking like in terms of video content creation for you? Are you just going to keep doing the same, or because it's working well, are you going to try other things? Tell us a bit about that.
Where am I heading with video? Yes, great question. Well, I look to evolve it as much as I can. I'd like to as much as low quality videos are great, and doing them in my basement sort of thing, or in my office, I'd like to do step up the quality of the videos a little bit more, just with gear, and also have some professionals help me with that, because they're a lot of video when you pick it up and you record yourself is very good for the viewer to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But when it comes to creating ads, or if you're creating your larger promotional material, or if you're doing like short courses and things like that, you just need that little extra edge or professionalism.
Yeah.
Because like, let's say at the moment, there's quite a lot of people doing short courses for their industry at the moment.
Yeah.
And the ones that really stand, like if you're buying one of their courses, if you're paying good money for it, you want to make sure like you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
And I just think that if you just record yourself with a ugly background and dull lighting and really poor audio, and you try and like sell your course and it's all that, I think the consumer is going to feel a little bit disheartened by the quality of the delivery.
Yep.
Whereas on social media, it's kind of almost the opposite. If you have a really super high polished video, it tends to, people are like, oh, what are you trying to sell me? Or what, this is a bit weird and awkward.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. So it's all about value. If you're getting something for free, then you don't expect it to be, highly polished and But if you're paying for it, you do.
So what sort of equipment are you using at the moment?
At the moment, I'm using a little Canon M100 camera. That was a brilliant little thing, but unfortunately, it doesn't allow me to have. It doesn't allow the screen to be on longer than half an hour. It's got a safe mode on it.
Suckers, we've got to put a hack on them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to hack it at the moment. Apparently, you can.
Yep.
So I'm working that out at the moment. It's a good little mirrorless thing. It's nice and small and compact.
And then you're recording via your computer. Is that right? From memory.
Yeah.
When you're going live always on your phone.
I was doing it on my phone until Facebook started changing a few of the little features around on the Facebook Lives, which is really annoying. However, to overcome the changes in Facebook Live, I'm going to then start recording on my little mirrorless camera a lot more. It's just when I'm out and about, I won't be able to.
Yeah, yeah.
The only time the changes really affect me is if I'm doing a demonstration on a whiteboard and trying to educate the crowd who's listening, to educating them on a particular topic. Their writing's all backwards. So thanks, Facebook, for taking that feature away from my particular phone. Anyway, you get that. So I'm always going to be evolving the equipment I'm using, but keeping in mind that I've got to focus on what's important for the viewer, like what's going to give them, what's going to take away those barriers from the viewer, so that they can receive my message clearly, exactly how I'm trying to get them to receive it. Mm-hmm. And if they're going to look at my videos and go and get caught up in the cinematography or lack thereof, then I need to change it till it's at a point that they're going to accept the message a lot better.
Yeah.
I think if people do, obviously we'll get a little bit caught up in that because we're always looking for light.
We're just nerds.
What lenses are you using there? All that sort of stuff. But part to me is I think, I heard this in a chat the other day. If people, when people are on their phones and they're in a coffee shop, it's like you've got to make the conversation actually interesting. And I get that. I think if your focus goes to that sort of stuff, maybe the content needs to up its game. So I'm not talking about you, but I'm just generalizing here. But if you're on point with what people want to hear, then they don't give a shit about all that stuff. It's what's in it for them. So at the end of the day, so it's an interesting thing to see that, because I know it's ruined my career. Because I used to be a projectionist, I'm watching all that stuff. But there's also, if I'm learning something, I actually in some way don't care about any of that because I know I need to focus on something to learn and up my skills. So it's kind of a
trying to find the balance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a two-way street. Yeah. But there's definitely once you've tried really good orange juice, you don't want to go back to concentrate juice, do you? So once you start delving in bigger, better cameras, 4K, whatever, and you see something that's better, you don't want to go backwards from there. So I think there's definitely, we're at the stage now where we've got some nice equipment, but it's taken years, hasn't it, to sort of get our hands on it.
Yeah.
So I think that's another thing too, is trying to let people know that it's a patience game too. We are a bit nerdy, aren't we? We're always looking up new equipment, what to buy. I'm super wrapped with the way this studio's looking.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Mate. What do you think, guys? This looks pretty good. Oh, everyone just jumped off. No,
That's because I was talking. He wasn't
no, that's
interested.
because what's in it for me? Like you nailed it when you said everyone's after what's in it for me, and you know, and I find that if I'm not adding extreme value after extreme value after extreme value, all back together, as soon as I'm finished making a really valuable point, you'll see the numbers drop, and you're like, oh, I had 6 people, now I've got 3. And you start making another point, a few people jump on, and then they'll stay on, and you can say more engaging. But you know, this is just the I guess the progression, the life cycle of jumping on camera.
Yeah.
Because at first, your content's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know, especially for me, because I'm not the kind of person that likes to sit down and plan out every single detail of the content. Because if I do, I then start to stutter, and I then start to like shake and get a bit funny on the camera because I'm constantly thinking of, oh, what's the next point that I put down on my piece of paper or whatever.
Yeah.
So nowadays I'll put on, I'll open my laptop up. I've got my dual screen set up. So one of the screens will have a whole lot of big major points that I want to make on it. And besides that, I've got nothing else.
Okay.
Just free roll.
And so when you're running out of steam on one of the points, you jump to the next point.
Yeah.
This is bullet points. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
I've got something there. If I go, and you know, actually one little thing that I've noticed other guys doing that because I've been following people that are doing a lot of lives, is that when they run out of steam on a point, they just do this, you know, this break.
Yeah.
This awkward silence. But if they put the silence in the middle of a sentence, people think that they're actually about to make a very profound point.
Yeah.
That is genius.
Exactly.
I'm stealing that one. That's great.
Yeah,
That's
and
a
it's
very
like-
good point.
Actually, what they're doing is they're trying to think of the next point to say.
Well, yeah, they don't feel the need to actually put words in the middle of that gap. I've seen Rupert Murdoch do that ridiculously well. Like he was on trial, and it's like, I will answer your question when I'm ready, but you're going to listen to my pauses. But he knew he had to have the best answers as well. So there's something in that pause. I know. I think I'm a bit of a. I can just what I'm doing right now, right? So like it's a brain thought as well. But there's that certain person that goes, I'm in control here, right? And I will speak when I have the best answer in my head to respond to you. You know. So yeah.
Yeah.
So with your videos now, like what would your advice be to someone who's just starting out? How do they find what to talk about? Because we've kind of talked around it today. If you're a accountant, the natural thing is, well, I'm an accountant, I'll talk about accounting things because that's ultimately who I want the clients to pay my bills.
Yep.
They're going to want an accountant. Like shop fitters, I'm going to talk about again like the work. But how do you think people can find what their audience, their potential clients, what they actually want to hear?
Well, the way I did it is I asked the question, what am I passionate about? And who wants to hear that message?
Yeah, cool.
And if they didn't want to hear that message, then I broadened it until there was a message that people wanted to hear.
Nice.
Right.
So an accountant, I mean, they may not want to talk about tax all day long because it would bore the pants off most people.
Yep.
However, there's some interesting things that their customers and their clients and potential clients or people that want to listen to them, they would want to know about. You know, there might be like small business owners that want to know about how they can structure for risk or like protect themselves against people that want to, sue them for some reason or, I mean, I'm always interested in structuring stuff. When I start talking to accountants, it's always about, tell me about trust funds and stuff, you know, get all nerdy on that kind of thing. But that's
Tax
probably my
breaks.
finance background.
Tax breaks are sexy. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when my like sexy video voice comes out.
The
Hey,
super horse
accountant.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, like on a serious note though, you got to figure out who you want to talk to. And it's not just who you want to talk to. It's do they want to listen to you in what you're having to say?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Mate, what's some of the feedback you get from your videos from people that are watching?
I
Love your beard.
that beard. Yeah. I've had a few people go, "How do you grow a beard like that without getting itchy?" I'm like, well, actually, what you do is Get these lotions.
There's a new Facebook Live series.
Boom.
Right there.
That's it.
Beards with Aaron.
That's right. And you have the tune, Beards with Aaron.
So I'm actually looking
Well,
across.
we'll give you that on the recording so you can use that.
I'm looking across him right now going, you bastard, because I can't grow. Like, it's baby hair. Like, I'll get to 90 and it'll never connect up like that. Look
So
at
you've been
this.
growing that for 25 years.
I turned 41 the other day. This is it. It's as good as it gets. I get a goatee. That's it. You know?
Yeah, but
only in that area.
Yeah, I can never do stylish designer stubble that you could do.
Well, yeah, and look, this is 17 weeks of growth as well. So it takes a long time.
That's 17 weeks.
Oh, it takes a long.
wow.
Yeah. I don't have to shave that much. Yeah. I'm still going through puberty.
I guess my point there is that you look internally, and this comes into video as well, and you go, what is it that I have that's a strength?
Yeah.
You know, not everyone can grow a beard like I can, but then not everyone else can have designer stubble and, be an absolute unit and be the after shot on an Instagram page like Shea can. So, you just look at your own strengths.
That's right, mate. Yeah.
And
you're spot on. Yeah.
Like I spent the first few, years trying to be Gary Vee.
Yeah.
Only to realize that I'm not that dominant alpha male guy that has to be like in your face on camera. That's just not me.
Do you sweat?
What, when I'm on camera?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sweating right now.
No, swear. Are you a swearer?
Swear? Yeah, I do swear. I swear in real life, so I don't see a big deal with swearing.
Yeah.
To a point. So I swear every now and then on camera, and so what? Sometimes kids will come in and go, "Get the hell out of my room!"
Well, I was talking to someone about this the other day, like swearing, because they swear like troopers in their videos. But they actually, as you said, they actually define their audience very quickly, because a lot of people hate swearing. But they swear because it's their truth, and they get juiced about what they're talking about. So they're dropping F-bombs left, right, and center, but it's just because that's what's in here.
Yeah.
Right. And it's coming out, and they don't want to suppress that. They want to let it out. So if you don't like swearing, people will say, I don't like you swearing, and shut off. And it's like, you get to the people that you are your audience a lot quicker.
Yeah.
By being that authentic.
You got to be real. You got to be real on camera for sure. And if you're gonna get on camera and speak and act and perform completely different to what you are in real life, when people see you in real life, they're gonna go, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah, spot on.
Like you're nothing like that on camera. So, or if someone knows you in real life and you jump on camera, it's the same thing. Yeah. They'll go, "You're not like this in real life." So why are you like that on camera? It's just fake.
Yep. I think it's like the way we're brought up too. Like, we're brought up not to swear. I haven't got a drama with it at all. Like, it's, but obviously with kids, you don't want to swear in kids. And there's still that rule that you don't want your kid. And again, it's still probably a reflection that you don't want to be embarrassed that little Timmy, who's 6, drops an F-bomb in front of the teacher or something. So, Well,
there are cultural things as well, that you'll go to a country and they have a completely different attitude to swearing versus another. Australia's pretty liberal.
Yeah.
So,
definitely. Know your demographic.
Yeah.
Let's come back to that again.
Yeah.
You just know who you're talking to.
Yeah, because you've got to act like them, for sure.
Yeah.
Look, Aaron, I think this is a great opportunity to wrap it up. I think that was a really cool discussion around what you're doing. So for people who are interested in learning more about you or your beard, about what you're doing, where should they go to?
If they want to see me on lives, they want to get in touch with me, I run, you can find me on Facebook, which is Aaron Emerich. They can find me on my group. I'll do a lot of lives on there. So if you want to check out what I do, jump on Millennials Mastering Money on Facebook, and they can find me on there. Yeah, they can interact and ask lots of questions. So yeah,
awesome. We'll put a link in the show notes. If you like this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast, because we're pretty much everywhere. And if you're interested in jumping in and learning how to make videos, and you've never made videos before, but you want to make videos, then we have a free DIY smartphone video course. Link again in the show notes. Just sign up for that and start making videos just like Aaron here. Well done.
Appreciate your time today, Aaron. Thanks for coming in, mate.
Thank you very much for having me. It was fun.
Cheers.